MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. I just want to put out a video comparing two fighters. It's kind of, it's just a fun little video I want to do because, my channel is MMA and it's also boxing. So, whenever I have whenever I think of it or whenever the opportunity arises, I like to, kind of make a video with both sports intermingling kind of thing. So I want to compare Anderson Silva and Roy Jones Jr. They have a lot of similarities, not only in their style of fighting, but the careers they had and things like that. So I just want to put out a video talking about these two fighters. Obviously, there's been some buzz around Silva. He's having a fight this Saturday. One of the greatest UFC fighters that ever lived. So, I just put out a prediction video on that. Anderson Silva, Michael Bisping, put that out about an hour ago. But now I just want to do a little video talking about Anderson Silva and Roy Jones Jr. So both guys had physical abilities that mesmerized fans. Okay. Both guys have like phenomenal highlight reels. Two of the funnest fighters to watch, especially in their prime, in their heyday. Both guys, whether it was head movement, upper body movement, throwing punches off their back foot, while backing away, knocking guys out off their back foot. These guys, like I said, have a highlight reel that are very impressive and very long as well. And like I said, similar style, hands low, taunted quite a bit throughout their careers. These guys weren't at all your traditional style of fighting. Your textbook style fighting. These guys kind of thought outside the box, very creative, very unpredictable. Very fluid movements, and they were both just very hard for their opponents to read, and what to it was tough for opponents to realize what's coming next from these guys, because their arsenals are so, have so much different weapons in their arsenal. You don't know what's coming. They can beat you with so many different techniques, Now, neither guy ever fought with really all their heart, I feel. They relied on their skill and timing, natural abilities, like instincts. They were both, counter punchers. So they really weren't, neither of them were aggressors when they fought. They were the counter punchers, they wanted to make their opponent make the first move and, capitalize on their mistake or their opening. So, very similar. Now, both guys also had trouble finding real challenges in their prime, when they were at their peak. Both guys, they weren't always in the strongest divisions. Roy Jones Jr., he started off at middleweight, then moved up to super middleweight, and then finally at light heavyweight. So 175 was basically Roy Jones. I guess that's where he fought the most. I would say, in his prime especially. He fought once at heavyweight against John Ruiz. I'm not sure if he ever fought at catchweight in his prime. Anyway, I'm not sure. If anyone knows, let me know. Now Anderson Silva, he was a middleweight, so he fought at 185. And then Anderson Silva had 3 fights at 205. Now, so he had 3 fights at 205. Anderson Silva. The first one was in 2008 against James Irwin. Sorry. I believe he was a last-minute replacement because someone was injured, I believe. Then in 2009, he fought Forrest Griffin, and then actually Forrest Griffin was coming off of a TKO loss or a KO loss to Rashad Evans. So, Anderson was moving up to fight a former champion. Mind you, Forrest Griffin never really defended his title. He never did defend his title. He got stopped by Rashad Evans. Then fought Silva. And Forrest Griffin, great fighter, but in my opinion, when you think about that 205 stacked division for years, Forrest Griffin is one of the weaker champions in my opinion. Great guy, a pioneer of the sport. I'll never forget what he did for MMA. Back in season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter, that fight with Stephen Bonner, it was really phenomenal back in 2005. And it just so happens that Silva's last fight at 205 was against Stephen Bonner. But Stephen Bonner was well past his prime. 2012. That's like 7 years after the big fight he had with Forrest Griffin at the season 1 finale. But Griffin would be his most notable win at 205. But nobody really was predicting Griffin to beat him. I mean, Anderson was the favorite. He ended up embarrassing Griffin pretty badly in that fight. It wasn't even close. Now, none of the fights that Silva had at 205 were really challenging, in my opinion. When he moved up to 205, it was never to face a champion. Now I know people will say, well, Shogun and Lyoto Machida, they wouldn't fight Silva because they're friends or what have you. But he could have fought Rashad Evans. He could have even fought Rampage Jackson. I would have Silva. I'd be predicting Silva to win those, but he never really challenged himself at 205, in my opinion. I think he should have fought Rashad Evans. That would have been the fight to make after Rashad Evans knocked out Forrest Griffin. But anyway, both these guys, Silva and Silva and Anderson Silva and Roy Jones Jr., just very, very similar. I just wanted to put out a video talking about, these guys. But both guys, if you could take anything away from their careers, it would be their resume. Their resume. They're not known for having the strongest resumes. Roy Jones never really was tested a whole lot in his prime. In his heyday, wasn't until he fought what's his name? I can't think of it. They had 3 fights there. Antonio Tarver. But before that, Roy Jones was unbeatable. Never really had too much of a challenge. And same with Silva. Silva wasn't until... Silva was tested more. But Silva, it's a different sport. Silva would get, it would always depend on what Silva would show up. We saw the fight with Chael Sonnen where, he got dominated for about 90% of that fight, 95% of that fight, and then ended up submitting him in the end. Where in Roy Jones' heyday, that never really happened. It's a different sport, but Roy Jones never got dominated. But that was because Silva was so comfortable on his back. It didn't really matter where the fight went. Silva was always seemed to be in control. But anyway, just wanted to put out a video comparing these two guys. They are really similar in style and careers. And two of the most exciting fighters you can watch. And like I said at the beginning of the video, these two guys have the best highlight videos out there. Definitely legends of the sport. So just wanted to put out a video comparing these two guys. If you like the video, subscribe. That's it for this one, MMA Boxing Talk. Peace.